Hey Grace, I knew that your Christmas day would be incomplete without seeing me in my red sweater, so we wanted to do a video for you today. Seriously, Merry Christmas. For the past 4 weeks, we've been talking about the deeper meaning of Christmas. Christmas many times is seen as a sweet little story, kind of like Ricky Bobby's prayer in Talladega Nights to the sweet, tiny little baby Jesus in his tiny gold fleece diapers. But when you think about the deeper meaning of Christmas and you explore that and you apply it, you find that it can cause some really deep changes in our lives and in the world. And so what we've been talking about is that Christmas brings a deeper compassion. We see that deeper compassion in the fact that everybody recognizes when that relationships are broken, and how do we cross that divide and bring reconciliation, which we so desperately need in our world, that the first best step is to cross that line, to create proximity. And so you see in the Christmas story that we're told that God sent Jesus into the world, that God took on flesh, the word incarnation, that God himself did exactly what we already know needs to happen, and crossing into our world, and thereby creating a deeper compassion between us and God and understanding. Therefore, we can then, the deeper meaning of Christmas, go out and cross the line as Jesus Christ did and get to know other people, get to know who they are, and to deepen our own compassion with them. And so we see the first greatest step in the Christmas story is Jesus Christ, God himself, entering into our world. And so it deepens our compassion. That's the first thing we talked about on November 27th, about how we deepen our compassion. The second thing is deeper joy. It brings a much deeper joy into our life when God leaves his place of power to rescue those who are suffering in injustice. Also, a very foundational belief in how do you correct situations that are broken is that you have to have someone of immense power who's willing to give up that power in order to rescue people who are suffering and are hurting. And we see that Jesus Christ does that. He gives up his power in Philippians chapter 2 to come to be amongst us and to rescue us. It's a foundational principle in reconciliation. Proverbs 21 says that when justice is done, it brings great joy. So it deepens our compassion, it deepens our joy, and then it deepens our understanding, because God illuminates our hearts to two very important things. Number one, we're far more sinful than we ever dared imagine. But at the same time, number two, we're far more loved than we could have ever dreamed. The Christmas story is filled with people who society would say are unacceptable. They're unacceptable for a number of reasons. And in the Christmas story, we see God wrapping his arms of love and identifying with the very people who society says are unacceptable. We're far more loved, far more sinful, and we're illuminated by the light. Isaiah says, a light has dawned on us. And it's speaking of Christmas and Jesus Christ coming into the world, and he's identifying with us. He's loving us. The story of Christmas includes people who have wrong behaviors, they're the wrong gender, they are the wrong ethnicity, and in every one of those cases, God is wrapping his arms of love around each and every one. And so it deepens our understanding. And then finally, it deepens our hope. Normally you see in the life of somebody that after they die, their impact on the world diminishes, and yet Jesus' impact on this world has grown exponentially. You see that through the life of his followers and what they did as they followed his teachings. Children who are often treated in a very cruel way, his followers treated them in a loving way. And remember that Jesus says, let the little children come to me. Women, the impact upon women. All women were considered equal with men. It says in the scriptures, one of his most famous followers, St. Paul, who said, there is no male, there is no female. And so the teachings of Jesus Christ impacted children, impacted women, and impacted governments. Even though Jesus never held a political office, we read these words, which you'll find familiar. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. self-evident. It wasn't evident really to anybody until Jesus Christ entered the world. The Roman Empire was particularly cruel to people who were sick or diseased or malformed, but Jesus' followers, so inspired by him, reached out to people in that condition, created hospitals, created relief efforts to do things. So it brings great hope because of what Jesus Christ has done. Humility was once scorned and was now looked on as a virtue. The list goes on, but hope increases because of the teaching of Jesus Christ. So it deepens our compassion, it deepens our joy, it deepens our understanding, and finally, it deepens our hope. In preparation for our January series, because we've been thinking so much about racial reconciliation and that Christmas is the basis, it is the foundation for breaking down those walls. This is why we've been talking so much about racial reconciliation in Christmas and then preparing ourselves for the January series. I want to read you the theme verse that we'll use in January. It comes from the book of Ephesians, Ephesians chapter 2, verse number 14. This is what it says. For he himself, speaking of Jesus, is our peace, who has made the two one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility. And it says that Jesus Christ did this, he did this in his flesh. Some people believe that God became flesh in Jesus Christ. Some people don't. But if we would all take a moment and explore the deeper meaning of Christmas and say for a second, what if God did become flesh in Jesus Christ? What impact would that have upon me and my life, and what impact would it have upon the world? And we find the very steps in Christmas and the deeper meaning is it follows exactly what all the experts say is needed to bring about racial reconciliation. So I want to ask you today, Christmas Day, to pray that our city, our great city, would experience a deeper influence of Jesus Christ, thereby tearing down walls of hostility and bringing us together and bringing us greater hope. Well, Merry Christmas. Please pray about that, and pray about our January series coming up. Finally, I just want to say we love you, and we appreciate all of you, and we wish you and your family and those that are near to you and dear to you a very Merry Christmas. God bless.